Well, the pullout of Afghanistan is finally over. It's finally finished. The final American plane flew out yesterday, although apparently there are still civilians, American civilians, and even some British civilians still trapped in Afghanistan. And if you thought that the situation couldn't be any more of a shit show, it turns out that the American military have completely abandoned their service dogs and just left them behind. Just the eye them. There's dogs in all those cages. They just left them behind. As American troops left Afghanistan at the stroke of midnight on Tuesday, an animal rights group, American Humane, slammed the US government's move to leave military contract working dogs in Kabul. American Humane stands ready to not only help transport these contract canine soldiers to US soil, but also to provide for their lifetime medical care, the US based rights group said in a statement. The US move was widely criticised on social media as the canine soldiers were left behind, even as some users called for help. American Humane said these brave dogs do the same dangerous life saving work as our military working dogs and deserved a far better fate than the one to which they have been condemned, because the only thing that I could imagine happening is I don't imagine that the Taliban are going to know, they're not going to know the protocol that American canine handlers like have to know to handle these dogs. So they're probably all just going to get shot. Dogs are probably all just going to get shot by the Taliban. That's probably what's going to happen. I mean, if they're not of any use to them, then they probably have already been shot. Department of Defense has ordered all military working dogs to be left behind in Afghanistan. They also said that any Americans left there are free to leave whenever they want. Yeah, you can leave whenever you want. Like, doesn't mean you can, leave. It's like, how they meant to get out? Taliban now controls the whole airport. The last plane is left. Like, it's gone. They've left. They're away. How are they supposed to get out? Urgent American and service dogs, 130 pets of servicemen and women being left for dead by CENTCOM and POTUS. Need a miracle. We have a plane coming, and military is forcing Charlotte to abandon the dogs. America, we have 3 hours to save the lives of 130 dogs and their American rescuer trapped at Hamid Karzai International Airport. Charlotte Maxwell Jones of Kabul Animal Rescue will not leave 130 souls behind, and we honour, respect, and must support that position. Many of these dogs belong to American citizens who fled, many are Afghan working dogs. At this point, we have run out of options and we need your help to save her and the dogs. I mean, Jesus Christ, she actually stayed behind. Don't know if I would. Don't know if I would. I mean, if it was people, yeah, dogs. I don't know if it was Buddha. If it was Buddha, I'd probably stay behind. US ally Britain had declared earlier that British owner God's sake, these bloody articles. The British owner of an animal shelter in Afghanistan will be allowed to evacuate around 200 cats and dogs on a charter plane from Kabul. British Defence Secretary Ben Wallace said it would be wrong to prioritise pets over people, completely fair point, as thousands waited outside Kabul airport last week to fly out of Afghanistan. India had earlier transported 3 sniffer dogs along with 150 Indo-Tibetan border police personnel from Afghanistan. The dogs had landed safely at Hindon IAF base in Ghaziabad. The Taliban entered Kabul airport soon after the last US flight left the country and witnessed the wreckage of US military equipment left behind as US service members destroyed aircraft, Humvees, including Sea-Ram defense systems. You're not like that made any bloody difference. Like, the amount of stuff that get left behind to the Taliban. There's an infographic that's going around right now, and honestly, you need to have a look at it. The sheer amount of stuff like Black Hawk helicopters and everything get left behind. And there was a footage going around of someone hanging from a helicopter. I don't think they were hanging from their neck. In my eyes, it looked like they were hanging from a harness. I don't know if that was someone just having a bit of a jolly, or it was some type of punishment being meted out by the Taliban. But yeah, they've got like M4s, MRAPs, Humvees, they've got drones now. There was drones that get left behind, all kinds of small arms vehicles, planes, helicopters, all of that just get left behind, and like some of it was disabled, but that was like a tiny percentage of it. The rest of it is all fully usable, and the Taliban now has it. And my personal theory as to why that is in case any other country tried to move into Afghanistan, like China or Russia or anything like that. I think the Americans were just saying, okay, well, if you want to do that, we're going to make sure it's very, very hard for you. Because if there's one thing that America has a very long history of, it is arming the opponents of its enemies. The enemy of my enemy is my little proxy war pawn. So, but in this case, like, service dogs have been left behind, and these are dogs that were taken as puppies and trained up to be either fierce killers or bomb sniffers or, any myriad of other uses that these dogs have. And they were just left abandoned in the Afghanistan heat in their little cages that they've probably died of heat exhaustion already, probably died of starvation and dehydration and any manner of other things. And it's just disgusting. It's just absolutely disgusting. And yes, I completely understand, you can't prioritize animals over people. You should get the people out first. But, like, there was clearly an agreement between the Taliban and the US military. They could have flown in many more planes and flown in so much more stuff. That's something that they could very easily have done and got everything out. And while they were doing all that, they could have disabled and blown up or done any number of things to all of the equipment. That's something that they could have done. But it seems that they didn't, and all of these wee dogs have just been left behind. The Afghanistan pullout has honestly been such a shit show, man. It's just honestly been just a complete fucking shit show. I wasn't crying there, by the way. I just realised how that looked. I just had to rub my eyes. But it's honestly just been one of the biggest shit shows that I have ever seen. It's gotten that bad where, see how, like, even people were, even, like, the proper, like, TDS people, like, the proper TDS people, the vote blue no matter who, and everything, at least it's not Trump, maybe Biden, he might, like, be falling asleep and he doesn't know where he is and he's making bad decision after bad decision and he's went back on every single one of his promises. At least it's not Trump. Like, I reckon that this entire thing is going to have been that much of a shit show that even they are going to start going, I kind of miss Trump. I kind of miss Trump. I wish Trump was back. None of this would have happened under Trump. No, man. And, well, to be fair, it wouldn't have. It wouldn't have. I mean, like, honestly, this entire thing has just been utterly fucking diabolical. There's still British civilians and like, American personnel and everything, like, left behind. There's, like, a few NATO and UN personnel and everything as well, and, like, the Taliban are already going door to door. Allegedly, don't know if this has been confirmed. The Taliban are even going around and cutting interpreters' tongues off, because basically, see how the whole look. Even if you help the Americans and the British and the invading forces, we're not going to do anything. It's fine. It's totally fine. Don't worry about it. And, well, obviously, that was a complete fucking lie. But I've got a feeling that these dogs aren't alive anymore. They've probably already been shot dead. But yeah, great. Good going. Good going. Thanks. Well done. GG. Fucking idiots.